getting a singing feel and sound on the, specifically on the guitar, I would say a big thing would be legato playing and sustaining notes longer than you normally think you should. Meaning the decay that, like on a guitar, you strike the note and the string vibrates and quickly stops and the note stops. The decay, the note goes away real quick. Like on a piano, it'll ring. On a saxophone, as long as you can blow your air through it, the note will ring. But on a guitar, the note decays very quickly. So what techniques can you do? A lot of it's left hand, a lot of it's leaving the note fretted just a little bit longer than you think, like holding it down and not just loosening the thing so the note dies away. I notice my own playing and others, especially solo guitar, getting legato chords to sort of sound like a piano with the sustain pedal down. It's very difficult, and a lot of it's people release the pressure of their left hand too quickly and the note or the chord just disappears, and they're going to a new fingering position, and you got to wait just a little bit longer and make the transitions of your left hand a little more smooth, so that and one way that I would work on my left hand with any string instrument, I think, would be to learn how to visualize it and not have to look at it. So the fingerboard that you can see in your mind's eye is much quicker, because like when you look at it, whatever quick, it's still millionths of a second from visualizing it to hitting your brain. It's still slightly slower than if you just start with it in your brain rather than having to have your eyes translate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see the fingerboard right in there from the start, you don't have to go through this, like, let me look at where I am and then translate that in there. So I don't know, if you can just start with that in there, then you can start to see where you're going. You can start to make preparations for what you might need to do to keep the sustain going based on where you're going. So knowing the fingerboard, strangely enough, to me is a big part of getting more sustain and vocal-like quality, because when you hit a gray area or a area that's not very well lit, it goes dark. You like take your hand off the neck and the note that dies, the phrase disappears. So and in the right hand, just thinking legato, thinking smooth, thinking connecting the notes so that one dies as the new one begins, as opposed to more like tiny hair's breadth of space between the notes. That has a tendency to make it sound more percussive and less singing. And so, getting the note, don't let up on one note till the new one begins, kind of a thing is, but a lot of it is what kind of pick you use, finding the right kind of pick that gives you kind of a soft legato sound without it being too percussive. The amp, how you set the tone, how you set the guitar's tone and volume, putting in, some backing off the real highs and the boomy basses and having it, have like a lush sound. It's a lot of trial and error, and a lot of, like you would on your stereo, just twisting the knobs, and you want to dial in the sound, just right, or something, like having a certain sound in your head of idols or of great players that you like, and how do they do it, and maybe like learning their solos and trying to play along with them and trying to hear like what's happening, like why is this not sounding right. A lot of times it is like, oh, the sustain is less, their left hand is gripping the whole thing a little more throughout, and I'm like just lightening up and the notes are decaying. I don't know, a lot of it's equipment. The guitar, does your guitar have a natural sustain? Some of the most sustainy, beautiful, lush players either play with their instruments tuned down sometimes, like George Van Epps or Ted Green or Kenny Poole tuned their whole guitars down like a whole step or more. You see that more now with like baritone guitars. Pat Metheny or Kurt Rosenwinkel make a solo album and they're using like these baritone guitars because it just gives it this big, lush, sustained sound. But someone like Kenny Poole or Van Epps, they did that every day even with bands. They just thought the guitar sounded better with a little more sustain. Another great classical guitarist named Paul Galbraith, he does that now. He tunes his whole he's got extra low string and an extra high string too, but he tunes the whole instrument down a whole step and just gives it like a resonance. Or they use solid bodies like Ed Bickert, who had maybe the best sustained sound. He just used a Telecaster, but it makes total sense. Because it's very sustained. If you ever pick up a Telecaster, it's like playing a piano with the sustain pedal on. The note rings forever, you know. Harmony, guitar, solo guitar, like we were saying before, doing more with less is like maybe just 2 notes. Can I keep one note held down while I'm manipulating another note? And so if your guitar has no sustain and it just decays, I mean, you're not going to have much time of holding a note down while you're playing with some other notes that are relating to that note that you're holding down. But if you get a guitar with a nice, rich, you know, good sustain, you can hold down a C and play all kinds of stuff over the top of it. All right, thank you so much. I'm Andy Brown. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please like it and please subscribe.